morning, people. My name is Corey, and I'm an addict. This is Steve.
Steve, alcoholic.
We're going to give a moment of silence to those still smoking. We're going to give a moment of silence to those that wake up this morning. And today we're going to do step 6. Let me read what that is, for those who don't know. We are entirely ready to have God remove all our defects of character. And what that means is be ready to surrender to God to take away your character defects. I'm flawed. Like, I can't do none of this without God. Podcast, house. Because every day I wake up, I gotta fight with the monster that's inside me, telling me not to be here, to go do drugs, to be in the midst. But with God in my life, it's a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's perfect, it's just easier. And what do you think about this, Steve? Step 6.
Having him remove my defects, that's something where you're going to work at it multiple times, and all your defects aren't going to be removed at first, but as long as you keep working at the steps, you slowly but surely don't do the things that you used to do, that used to get you in trouble. You're not going down the same road as you were with destroying your life. You're putting the pieces of your life back together, and you finally get a result of the steps as your character defects get removed, to get a little hope at the work you've done. So definitely a good step.
Damn bugs. So today's Monday, and thank God we woke up this morning. You know what I mean? We chilling, we outside. See the Virgin Mary in the back. You know what I mean? Today we're talking about step 6, dealing with the step 6 about our defects, allowing God to remove them. What does that look like for me? For me, it's turning my whole life over to Him, and to be willing to put in the work to stay clean. The energy I put into getting high, I use that same energy to stay clean. Putting God first in my life, trust, faith, and believing in Him that He will keep the monster inside me locked away forever, never to be seen again. It don't happen overnight. It takes time for God to work in your life. But at the same time, we have to do the footwork, not just Him. I had to work hard to stay clean. I had the willingness to try to turn every ounce of my being over to God and let Him remove my defects and my flaws, and work on different aspects of areas of my life with this step. We got to try something. Getting high ain't it. And if you're an addict, you know what I'm talking about. If you're on step 6, if you're doing the step work, if you're not there yet, you'll get there. Doing step 6 is a blessing that we even made it to step 6. That we woke up this morning to be allowed to do step 6. A lot of people ain't going to want to do step 6 because they don't want to turn over their entire life to God. It's not religious. It's just what God do when it's time for Him to help you. You'll see it. You'll feel it. You'll understand it. How you doing this morning, Steve?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Slept good?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Me
how
too.
you doing? Good?
Man, I'm blessed today. Waking up, about to go to school, about to go to work,
Yeah.
got a job. You know what I mean? Doing my thing, you know what I mean? What God allows me to do. I don't just wake up and do stuff anymore. I gotta run and buy God. But him allowing me to wake up, I get the opportunity to do better things in my life. What about you?
Well, as far as the defects of character, you know, what's been removed with me so far is the lying, the lying to myself. I don't lie to other people. I try not to. I try to be honest, but lying to myself is one of the defects I've tried hard to remove. Is telling myself that I could still drink and telling myself that it was okay for me to be doing what I was doing, and it wasn't, and I knew it wasn't, and so having that defect removed has definitely taken a lot of weight off my shoulders. Allow me to do better things with my life and better things with my time. I want to volunteer more. I want to freaking go to more meetings. I want to be there for other people and not be self-centered or self-seeking and be able to help other people that have struggled, gone down the path that I have or close to it, and help them find another way. So that's kind of what I strive for.
Good. Good stuff. So we're going to read a couple passages from the book, the NA book, Narcotics Anonymous. So many times addicts have sought the reward of hard work without labor. Willingness what we strive for in step 6. We are sincerely rework this step will be proportionate to our desire for change. That's my desire to change, to stop doing drugs, to be a better person. To be the person I'm supposed to be that my parents raised me to be. Not this dude running around, getting high, manipulating people, conniving people. None of that. None of that shit. It's not what God wants, not what my parents raised me to be. They raised me to be a respectful person in society and do a 9 to 5. Take care of my responsibilities. That's what they raised you to be too. They didn't raise you to be on drugs. Even though we got fucked up childhood or a fucked up life, that shit could change. You just gotta believe it. What's your take on that?
As far as how sincerely you work this step will be proportionate to your desire to change, means to me that the harder you work, the more change you'll see. So working at getting our defects of character is knowing what your defects are, and you're not gonna know all of the defects you have. You might have to ask other people, ask your sponsor, based on your story, what he thinks your defects of character is, because it's hard for us sometimes to even see what our defects are. So
We're all flawed. We didn't come into this world perfect. We came with character defects. But if you never know what your character defect is, or if you're never trying to work on yourself, then you ain't gonna know what it is. And that sucks. Do we really want to be rid of our resentments, our anger, our fear? Many of us cling to our fears, doubts, self-loathing, and hatred because there is a certain distorted, sincere security in our familiar pain. Pain, fear, resentment. I had all that shit. Still got to work on it. But the less drugs I do, the more happier I am, the more honest I am, the more, man, I can get along with people. I don't just snap. And that's what it is. Like, you gotta work on yourself. You gotta do that inventory of yourself. Dig deep in your soul and find out what's going on with you. Because if you don't, how's a doctor gonna help you if you don't even know what's going on with yourself? I mean, they can run tests on you, but how they gonna know that you got character defects if you don't even know what character defects are? The willingness. If I was willing to wake up in the morning and go get high and by any means necessary get my sack, I could use that willingness for positive. I could be willing to wake up in the morning and do a podcast. I could be willing to wake up in the morning to be clean. I could be willing to allow God to work in my life. Because at first, I wasn't doing that. I was just willing to get high and by any means necessary get my next sack. You got to take that energy and put it somewhere positive. And with the help of God, it makes it easier. I'm not going to say it ain't perfect, but it's easier. It's easier for me to keep the monster at bay. It's easier just to listen to him and not react to what he got to say. Because he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing that's positive. He ain't saying, hey, go get a job. Or, hey, he ain't saying, hey, don't run the streets. He ain't saying none of that. He's saying the opposite. He's saying, go get that sack. Fuck this podcast. Go be out there in the world. Go be homeless. Go kick it with your homeboys. That's all the shit you're talking about. He ain't telling me to go get a job. He ain't telling me to take care of my responsibilities. He ain't telling me to stay away from jails and prisons. He ain't telling me none of that shit. He ain't got no responsibility. His main focus is to get high. Letting go of the character defects should be done decisively. We suffer because their demands weaken us. If we are not humble, we are humiliated. If we are greedy, we find that we are never satisfied. 44 years I was never satisfied. 44 years of just pure greediness. Next sack, next sack, next sack, next sack, let's smoke, next sack, next sack, let's smoke, let's smoke, let's smoke. That's all it was. Next drink, next bowl, next this, next that, woo, woo, woo. Never satisfied, greedy. Couldn't wait to get high. The old man was loving me. Because I was there all the time. Smoking at his house. Even tried to sell drugs. Couldn't do that neither. Smoke, 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 smoke. That was all that was in my vocabulary. Looking for my next hit. Fuck everybody else. Didn't care about none of that shit. Now, indulgence in the character defects cloud our ability to think logically. Selfishness becomes an intolerable destruction chain that ties us to our bad habits. Our defects drain us of all our time and energy. 44 years. 44 years. Not 44 months, not 44 days, not 44 weeks. Years. 44. They were in the wilderness for 40 years till they found their way out. I was past that till I found an outlet, something that's different. But I had to change. I had to tell myself I didn't want this shit no more. I had to get on my knees and pray and cry to God to ask Him to help me and change me. It took 44 years. In that process, I could have died a lot of times. But by the grace of God, I did it. And now I'm here talking to you, telling you. It might take you 50 years, 60 years. The disease has no age limit. It might take you forever to figure out that you're, and then by then it's too late. I suffer from diabetes now. I got health problems. I'm fat. But I figured it out. It took that long. Even when people were telling me, hey, dog, you shouldn't be doing that shit. Hey, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You should listen. This and that. Yada, yada, yada. Woo, woo, woo. I didn't give a fuck about what they were talking about. I continued to do what I wanted to do. It wasn't shit, but I still did what I wanted. What about you?
I still have to work on getting rid of my defects. I gotta let go, and it's one of those things that I'll be working on for the rest of my life because they still creep up every once in a while, and I still get myself into trouble with the things I say or with the things I do. But it's kind of refreshing hearing that you struggle with it sometimes too. It's something that I'm okay to have this kind of struggle, this kind of hard work have to be done for me to stay sober. If this is what it takes, it's what it takes. I'm willing to go to any length now, like I was to keep drinking. I'm willing to go that length to stay sober now. And so it's one of those things. I still got a lot of work to do on myself, and I do work at it every day. It's just I get every once in a while, every week or couple of weeks, I get a little realization of my change. Seeing that I'm doing things different. This house has helped me do things different this time because it's a second chance. I could be right now on the street, running the street, and probation, and God didn't have that plan for me, so I'm given it a chance to make a better decision for myself to stay clean and to get to the point where I have a job and I can afford a place of my own, and I can get out of that discomfort where when you're at the bottom and you've lost so much, it's kind of like a toilet bowl. You start losing stuff, and eventually when you're going towards the bottom, everything you lose, it goes real fast at the bottom, and so it's hard to climb out of that bottom when you're there, but I feel like I have gone a couple steps up from where I was at, and I can stay there as long as I keep going in this direction, I'll get to see my daughter again. I'll get to do the things that I want to do with my life. But it's hard work. I have to work at it every day, all day. 24/7, 365. But it's worth it to me. I care enough about my sobriety that I'll fight anyone over it. If they, have booze and try to shove it down my throat, I'd fight anybody. I'd fight Tyson to get that off my back. So,
Right.
I'm just grateful today. And, yeah.
And there you have it, the truth. It's not fun. In the beginning it's fun, but 44 years, think about that shit. 44 years is just bullshit. I could probably be retired somewhere. Have my own house somewhere. But nah, I fucked it up. But now I'm starting all over. And I'm fine with that. I'm content. Because God got me. He got this man too. And we're doing, it's a good thing. Baseboard Inc. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. No,
Have a good day, y'all.